Okay, so Court, I'm not wearing great clothes. The house isn't clean, but this is our next episode of Cooking for Quartz. We're gonna make breaded chicken breast. I've got the chicken breast in the sink. Your ingredients are just a couple of eggs, uncooked. I'm gonna use two kinds of cheese today. I'm gonna use Parmesan and Romano cheese. You can just go with Parmesan. Flavored breadcrumbs, not plain, flavored breadcrumbs. That makes a big difference. Panko, you do not need this ingredient. I just like to use it. These are both a quarter full for some reason, so I'm going to use both. And then an extra virgin olive oil or any cooking oil of your choice. You could even do this with lard, but I would not suggest doing so. Lard is really terrible for you. But, you know, a canola oil, a peanut oil, a olive oil, which is my favorite. Any vegetable oil really is going to be okay for this, or any high heat point oil, like a flaxseed oil, would even be fine. But I would go with either a veggie oil or your basic olive oil. Olive oil has actually a lower heat point, so it's harder to use. So maybe that knife looks gross. Maybe you want to. I'm sorry, it took 3 seconds to clean this knife. I don't know why it's so gross. Maybe you want to go with a veggie oil instead. Very nice and clean knife. You never want to put your knives in the dishwasher, by the way. You want to clean them and put them away. Unless they're really bad. The reason for that is because you discolor the knives and you also make them less sharp. Anyway, here's the chicken we're going to use right there. It's already thin sliced, but I will show you real quickly what to do if it's not a thin sliced chicken breast as well. I can't remember the name of this. I think it's called panatella. So what you do is you take your chopping board, which in this case has already been used once today, but I'll pull it out anyway. I think I used the chops today, it's just fine. You take some wax paper. Enough to cover the piece of chicken. Take some wax paper. You take your chicken, which as I said, this is already skinny chicken. Doesn't need this. You take your chicken. You fold it inside. You take your meat tenderizer. You can use a rubber hammer if you have one instead. You know, if you don't have a meat tenderizer, I know you might not have one of these. But you take your meat tenderizer. You use the flat side of the meat tenderizer, and you simply, without putting any pressure into this, you simply hit the food like that. Okay, and as you can see, it's spreading out and thinning out. And you keep doing this until you get your food to the thinness you want it. Again, this is already really thin. This didn't need this at all, so we're not going to do any more of that. But if you buy a split chicken breast and it's not been sliced down like this, that's how you would go ahead and thin it out even further. So as you can see, that's thinner than the pieces that were in there before. If I continue to do that, I get thinner and thinner and thinner. I can make it so thin you can see through it doing that. Anyhow, that's how you thin out a piece of chicken if you need to. So let's talk about the steps to make breaded chicken breast. The first thing you're going to need is a bowl. See, the very first thing you're going to do before you make any ingredients is you're going to get yourself some wax paper, which I've already taken out, yay for me, or some tinfoil. Either one's fine, although wax paper is probably a better choice for cost value reasons. And you're just going to put that down over your cooking surface. Because, make no mistake, this is a dirty, messy job. So you want to cover your cooking surface completely with this foil, because this is a assembly line, and each step of the assembly line is messy. So we're going to do that. Then we're going to get ourselves a bowl, another bowl. Okay. I'm not having much luck with the things I want because they're already in use, or have, like, I think the one I wanted had tuna salad in it. But you get yourself a bowl for the eggs. a bowl for the breading, and then you're gonna get yourself something to hold the. Just gonna get a plastic plate for this right now. Something to transfer. I'll get a regular plate. The food to the fryer. Okay. Because when you get to the end, you need to move this piece of food to the oven. Okay. And now to the oven, we're gonna get the oil started while we're doing this. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna remove every single thing from your oven because you're gonna get splattering when you do this. I'll do it on. I usually use the glass top thing you've seen me cooking a million times, but since you probably don't have one of those, I will cook this in a regular, everyday skillet. Works perfectly fine. I happen to have this nifty cover that stops the splattering, and you'll see that it really doesn't stop the splattering so well. And all you're going to do is turn your heat to high to start and drop some oil in there. Not too much. You can drop a couple tablespoons of oil in to start. Just about that much to start. Let that heat up. And I'll show you how you know when your oil is hot enough. We'll come back to that. Did you see me do that? Yes, you could. Awesome. Okay, so we're back over here. So now the oil is heating while we prep our ingredients. Oil's only going to take a few minutes to heat, but so prep the ingredients is also going to take a few minutes. Grab a couple of eggs, crack the egg, put it in, do it again. You can see the wax paper has already saved me a little bit of problems later on. You need a fork. Of course, I put this in front of my drawer with all that fun stuff in it. You need a fork or a whisk. You're just going to beat the eggs like you would for scrambled eggs. Just making scrambled eggs right now. And you're done. That should be, you might need one more egg, but we'll start with that. I got to go shopping tomorrow, obviously. Running out of just about everything now. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to make your breadcrumbs. You think, oh, that's easy. I've got this little breadcrumbs. Well, this is actually where all the flavor is. It's in this breading. So you're putting in some of this, some of this. Oops, I forgot an ingredient. We need a little bit of flour. Use this panko. Actually, this one is open. Okay. So there's panko. Panko doesn't hold onto the food as well, so you're not going to use that much panko. Just a little bit. I don't know if you can see the amounts. I think I gave you the amounts in another thing, but it's about a cup of the breading, of the regular breading, and then maybe even a half cup in this case. This is a small container. And then maybe a quarter cup of panko. Again, you don't need the panko. And then you're going to do about an equal part of flour to your breading. Because flour is going to get on everything, right? The breading does maybe not going to catch as well. The flour will. So we're going to add, we're going to go a little lower on the flour. I'm just going to add about a quarter cup of flour to this. Now that I think about it. I just do this, honestly. I don't think about numbers. Then we're going to add the cheese, but first we're going to come back to our oil and see if it's ready. We don't want to let it smoke. See how nice and easy it's moving? That oil is ready to fry something. And the next thing you want to do is what I'm doing right now. I am coating the pan. Then we're going to turn the heat down. I've got the heat right now on high. I'm going to turn it down to 6. All right. We'll turn it back up when we're ready to cook, most likely, but we'll leave it at 6 for now. As you know, I'm not used to moving this thing around with me as I cook. I don't have a cooking show. Let's bring this up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add this cheese, right? I've got Parmesan cheese, and it's just that much. It's probably, again, maybe that was 3 tablespoons of the Parmesan. This is called the Pecorino Romano. It's a little stronger, and I added about half the amount I added of the Parmesan. So that's it. That's my breading for these chicken breasts. Now, I have more. I probably have to make all this again. You probably have to make this more than once. Then all you have to do is mix this together. Add some pepper. The amount of pepper is probably maybe a quarter tablespoon, maybe a teaspoon of pepper actually. Probably about how much it is. Again, I just do these things. I've done this a billion times, so there's no real rhyme or reason for it. So now we have our choo-choo train. Okay. Oh, I forgot an important thing. Another piece of prep. We are going to put to the side here a big plate, and we are going to put not only some paper towels next to that onto that plate, like so, but a roll of paper towels next to them. Now, make sure you're nowhere near the actual things cooking when you're doing this stuff. See, that's the hot. This is not hot. Again, keep this nice and coated. And now we're ready. Now we've got our entire train, and I need you out of the way when I move back and forth here. So I'm gonna set you up here so you can see what I'm doing. Hopefully, from one side to the other. Okay. We're done with this. We're not telling anything. This is all nice and skinny. Not like me. Okay. And what we're doing is super simple. Taking this. We're just putting it in the egg and mixing it around like so, making sure the egg gets nice and coated on there. Then we're just going to let it sort of drip off. I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to take this stuff, flip this. Your hands are going to get super dirty doing this. Don't be surprised about that. And then we're going to transfer to the plate. However many of these we're going to do. You don't really need to use the fork. You just let your hands get super dirty because they're going to. I'm going to use the fork as much as I can, because I don't like getting egg on my hands. All right, so the other thing I usually have is something to clean my hands with. That would usually be paper towels, but because I was trying to do this quickly and get back to the other stuff I was doing, I didn't really set up ahead of time. So these are super skinny, so I'm actually just going to do this with my hands. This fork thing ain't going to work for me. Just going to cover this with the stuff like that, and continue to transfer it into the plate. All right, it's in the egg. My hands are super clean because I cleaned them before this whole process. And then I'm going to get this stuff on there. Again, look, it's a messy job. Anyone who tells you they can do this and not make a fucking mess is lying, or better than me. You're gonna find, if you're like me, I hate having shit on my hands, Court. I just do. It's part of being me. So I clean my hands like 90 times. Although I like the ease of just simply pulling this stuff off, flipping it in with my hands. I also hate getting my hands dirty like that. So I'll end up cleaning my hands like 90 times. Especially as I fry, because I don't like to have my hands dirty, and when I'm cooking, when I'm trying to feel what the food stiffness is and stuff of that nature. So we're almost done with this step. I probably could have started the oil later. It's really, I'm wasting a crap ton of energy on that oil right now. Just dredge that along, make sure it's really in there. You'll see on cooking shows they just sort of touch it to the oil, but you can see I spend a little time making sure that stuff is really covered. And just get it in there, make sure it's really got the egg on it, make sure it's really got all your stuff on it. I hope you can see what I'm doing. And transfer to that. One more, actually two more. These are really cut very thin. I don't usually buy these thin slices. These are probably on sale. I found them in my freezer. Because you said you tried to do chicken, so I was like, I can do some chicken. I can make myself a chicken sandwich. Why not? Okay, so we've got one more to go. There it is. You can see my hands are gross, 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 gross. And when you get down to the bottom, you start to run into stuff that's got egg in it already, and it gets harder and harder to attach it to the food. So what we're going to do next, wash your hands, because now you're going to be cooking. And this garbage is going to be in the way of cooking. I suggest doing about 2 of these at a time. in that skillet. Up, the oil's burning. The oil's burning. You don't want your oil to be burning. So I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit more. This is going to splatter like a son of a bitch as soon as I put this stuff on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our cover, we're going to get our fork, and we're going to start frying up some chicken. It's a very fast process. Like I said, you should be able to fit a couple of these in here at a time. It is not clean. You are going to make a mess. You are going to have to clean up a mess. There's no way around it. I'll say that 97 times if I have to. Okay, so we're cooking our food. That's all there is to it. Now we're just going to cook it and flip it. Get it onto the, and cook it over here. Drain it and eat it. It's very simple. There we go. Here's all my doggies' food. These red packages. So there you go. It's already turned to golden brown. Flip it over. That's about the color you want. It's actually a little browner even than you want. So you're going to wait about 3 minutes aside. Once they're done, you're going to put them in, like I said, you're going to drain them on this paper. This is the entire thing. I'm actually going to stop this because that's it. That's the entirety of the process to fry a piece of chicken. At least a cutlet of this thickness. Nope, that's done. That's it. This one has to go a little longer. You need a little bit more oil now. I'll show you how to add oil. All right, because you want the oil to cover the bottom of the food. So I was only going to do a couple of these, and then I decided to screw it. I'll do the whole package. I told you before, there you go. What I'm doing, sort of. All this crap clean. See the room's getting covered in smoke. That is, again, super normal. Then I throw the vent on. This piece is done. Maybe even overdone now. Nope, perfect. There we go. We've made 2 pieces of fried chicken. Next, we're going to cover the chicken with paper towels. I hope you can still hear me. And now, we're going to add new oil. It's a very simple process. Don't do it. The biggest trick to this is not to do it when the food is in the pan. Just add some oil. Then just cover the bottom. Give it a few seconds to get heated up. Again, you just want to make sure it's fluid, right? You want to make sure that oil is moving. It already is. Add this oil sort of over the temperature it needs to be anyway. Okay, let's throw a couple more of these on here. And that's it. Just make sure they fit. Cover it back over, in my case, with this. Please no. There we go. Don't know why it was beeping. I hate this machine, by the way. We're going to talk about things to buy. The GE microwave is not on my list of things to buy. This thing is broken so many times, it's not even funny. I have a service contract on it. It's the only reason it's still here. They've come and fixed it like 6 times. Alright. So that's about as much time as you need. Flip the food. Give it a little bit less cook this time, which means I'm going to be flipping this again. That is fine. Doesn't matter how often you flip it, you're looking for a golden brown color. That's all you're looking for. And I'll do one more. Oh, shut up. That's this thing deciding it's going to be a jerk today. I'll do one more up for you so you can see what's what. I got this really sort of right on the money now, so you can really see what I'm doing. See, that color looks pretty good. It takes a little while to see if the color is okay. I'm gonna let it cook a little longer. I like it a little darker than that. But these are cooked. That's kind of high heat cooking on this thin a piece of meat. There's no real time to it. As you can see, these are really thin. The thicker the piece of meat, the longer this is going to take. That's why you use that tagliatella that I was talking about before to thin it out. That's when I showed you hammering it with a hammer. And we're at the point now where you're only talking like a few seconds longer per side to get what you want. Do that because you can see the oil is sort of skewing this way. This kitchen isn't perfectly balanced. And almost done. Those look real good. A nice golden brown on both sides. I'm gonna go ahead and put these over here. And I'm gonna turn the camera off and finish off these last few. And then I'll show you what I do with these for food. Oh, one last thing. You may notice I have closed my kitchen completely. All doors closed. And the reason for that is because this stuff smokes like a son of a bitch. Even if you use a higher smoke point oil, this is not a high smoke point oil, you're still going to get a lot of smoke once you put the food in to the oil. It's just going to happen. So just be expecting it. Keep your doors closed. All right, we got a few more pieces, then we'll make a chicken sandwich. So I've got my last couple pieces in, and there's almost no oil left, so it takes a lot longer and there's a lot more smoke. But I'm being cheap and not putting my super awesome oil in there. What I want to show you is I've already started cleaning, and that's really important. It saves so much time to do. And the reason you put the paper down is because you're able to do this nice fold and pick everything up with you in one shot, and leave almost no mess. If I had done that right, it wouldn't even worked out right. Anyway, just clean up behind yourself as you go. It takes so much less time to get clean up. I've got all the plates in there already soaking, but I have to soak the plates for this because this stuff is like glue. Once the egg is in this stuff, it is like freaking glue. You can see I've almost got no oil left. And the reason that that's a problem is because I can't really tell whether or not I'm dealing with stuck on old burned crumbs or whether I cooked the food. The only reason I know I cooked the food is that I've done this a million times, so I know how long it takes the food to cook. But that's the only problem with running out of oil. Again, I use this extra virgin olive oil. You can use any kind of oil that's for cooking, any kind of vegetable oil. Olive oil just imparts a little bit better flavor, but it causes all this smoke. Again, why the kitchen is fully closed off from the rest of the house, so the house will be small like a oil fire. And just do a quick clean up on the floor. I guarantee you've got crumbs on the floor, you can heat up some skin. It is. Again, just none of these tape. And then I'm going to do something super stupid, but there you go. From there. I'm not very smart because these are for the big vacuum cleaning that. Alright. You can hear that that's done. I don't know if you can tell. I don't know if you heard the difference, but that food just finished. See? Nicely cooked. There's like no oil left here. And the last thing I want to show you is how to clean this pan. Alright? Everything else is in here, soaking for probably in a half hour or so. Make sure you turn your oven off. Make sure you cover all your chicken so that it's draining properly. And then you've got this garbage pan, right? This pan covered in shit. This has gotten very hot, and I just touched it with my hand. Again, I'm not really used to the whole talking, do thing. This pan is severely hot, and that's actually really good for us. We're going to drop a little water in it and go like this. And that's going to dump most of the garbage out of the pan. So do it with a little water, then you add some more later. See how much of the garbage is coming off that pan just from doing that? And then we're going to soak the pan as well. First we're going to cool it down completely so that it doesn't cause any of my other dishes to crack. This one's already cleaned up enough to go in the dishwasher. This one's already cleaned up enough to go in the dishwasher. That's my lunch plate. We need to have that happen all. And that's it. That's how you do this dish. Okay, so now we've finished cooking, right? We've got our layers of chicken. So a nice little look. And you see all that grease that's come out of them. That's why we put down these layers, so that all that grease would go into the layers of paper instead of into our bellies. It's really valuable. It makes a much better flavor food for you to eat too. So what we're going to do next with this is just let it sit for about 5 minutes. And honestly, these bottom ones are already done. We can eat the bottom ones right now. They're still fairly greasy, but they'll still be pretty good. And so I'll show you how to make a sandwich out of this stuff. I'm going to take a second and actually clean the board that I didn't clean before. Just toss some bleach on it. The reason we need a cutting board is we're going to be using some lettuce and tomato. Some very simple ingredients for this. This is a simple sandwich. Oh, forgot to put the eggs away. Always a good choice. Always forget the ingredient that's the worst one to leave out. So we're going to use some tomato. And as you may know, I have 6 or 7 zillion tomatoes here. And I've got this tomato I've already been eating. So I'm going to use this Berkeley tie-dye tomato for this. We're going to use lettuce if we have any. And at the end of the road here. Okay. So all we're going to use for this sandwich is the chicken we just fried, lettuce, tomato. You can use any veggies you like. You can use onion for this if you want to. And we're going to use a little bit of balsamic vinegar. Now you can just use an Italian vinaigrette. You can use your favorite dressing, any dressing for this. Please don't use garlic and feta, although by the way that would actually go really well with this particular meal. I shouldn't say don't use it, but you seem to use it for everything, so go outside your comfort zone a little bit. So we've got a tomato that's an organic tomato, so we're going to remove, this is from outside, we're going to remove that, throw it away. I'm going to, I think I'm showing you my shoulder more than anything else. We're going to remove just the top slice of this. And let's dry it out a little bit, and that tomato's ready to go. I can slice that tomato and make tomato slices. The other thing we need is bread. I didn't notice much bread in your house when you were cooking. So that's one thing I would suggest to you is you get, even if you have a Panera bread around you, get more into what kind of breads you can use. I'm going to make I'm going to use this flatbread, which is awesome. This one here. You can use anything. Again, I like sourdough for this quite a lot. I just don't have any right now. I would just get more into, if you're going to make food for your family, switch off a Wonder Bread and get more of these more hand-baked by a bakery kind of breads. So here we go. We got a pocket. Nice pita. These are very soft pitas. We're just going to grab ourselves a couple pieces of this chicken, and we're going to put them in the pita. So, no big deal. I should really just use one. They're very hot right now. There we go. 2 pitas, 2 chickens. All right. Again, I probably should let the lights get down. And I'm going to use about 3 slices of tomato. Remove this from the top. This tomato is very sweet and ridiculously sweet, so I'm trying to save as much as possible. Usually I would just cut the entire top of the tomato off. So 1, 2, 3. Just use however much tomato is going to cover your piece of food. This tomato is supposed to look green like that on the top. It's got what they call green hips. And you shove them into the sandwich. 1, 2, 3, like so. And then we're going to use just a little bit of lettuce. Yes, you did just see me cut right through the plastic. I waste a lot of lettuce. I'd like to say I don't, but I do. I only like this part of the lettuce, the crispiest inside pieces. So I end up wasting a ton of lettuce. So we're just going to put that on the top like so. Here we go. I don't think you can even see the sandwich. I'll show you in a second. And then what I do is I flip this lettuce back on to the top, and I actually tape this closed. And that makes it so the lettuce stays a little longer than if you just cut it and leave the ends sticking out, which is what most people tend to do with a piece of lettuce. So I have just quickly closed the lettuce back up, sealed it with a couple pieces of tape. I'll put that back in the refrigerator. It'll be good for at least another week. Okay, so there we go. That was making a sandwich. Woohoo! I know you already know how to make a sandwich, but these are the ingredients. It's all the ingredients I'm using. Now, if I were going to add something else to that, maybe actually I think I am going to add something else to that, even though it's already to the point where you need to unlock your jaw to get to it. Just cleaning it again, cleaning everything in between. You just have to rinse your knives. You don't have to. Depending on what you've used them for, I used it to cut a tomato and some lettuce. That's with vegetables. There's no raw meats being used in this time. I already washed this knife after cutting the raw meat package, so I'll just put those away. I think I am going to add a piece of provolone. I have 9 million gallons of provolone. I add 1 piece of provolone to this sandwich. It's going to be hard to do because I've already made the sandwich. And no, I won't. No, I won't. That's gone bad. Mozzarella, feta cheese. Nope, no cheese for this sandwich because I only wanted the provolone. Oh well. Found the provolone went bad. Nothing I can do about that. So, our last ingredient is the balsamic vinegar. So, here's how you do a vinegar or a salad dressing when you want to do this. This stuff's very thick. Most balsamics that you'll buy in the store that say they're 15 years old have been just reduced. What you're going to do is you take your thumb like this. This is not. This is an actual 15-year balsamic. And you're just going to drizzle a little bit. It's all the balsamic you need. This adds a ridiculously large amount of flavor. And then you clean your thumb. Top back on. And you're done. That's it. We've made a sandwich. We have succeeded in making a chicken sandwich that I'm pretty sure your kid will like. Balsamic vinegar, especially the 15-year age balsamic like this, is severely sweet. You do not want to use too much of it. It will taste disgusting. But if you add just a little tiny bit, it has this little acidic sweet kick to the food. It goes really well with the tomato and the lettuce. Now, as I've been talking to you, these chicken cutlets are done. Over there. So what do you do with them? What do you do with the chicken cutlets? Well, that's easy enough. You take a bag, you take the paper. The paper is all waste. Unfortunately, you waste a ton of paper towel this way. And you just put these in the bag. You can use any kind of container you want, really. I'm going to use this bag. And I've already cleaned up. I'm going to be very careful. I'm not making a big mess by putting these away. This is it. You've done it. You've made your chicken, and now you're storing your chicken. All the excess grease is over here in these towels. Which leaves you a fairly nice padded down, not greasy chicken for your food. That's it. Wash the plate. You're finished.